This video is sponsored by Rift Wars. More on that in a minute. Ronin in a nutshell. Ronin will be the next legendary card coming to Clash Royale. You can find him in Arena 14 starting from August or from the album event in July. And if there are any shop offers to max him, you can use code Abdod to support the channel. He has an interesting stat spread, and I spy with my little eye a new mechanic. He has a fast movement speed which is identical to Mini P.E.K.K.A. His HP is slightly lower than Prince, but he still survives rockets. The damage allows him to one-shot archers, and he has the attack speed of a Dark Prince. And the new mechanic is a parry, which I'll explain the details after talking about today's sponsor. Rift Wars is a free-to-play PvP auto battler that will be releasing July 1st for both iOS and Android devices. Here's the core gameplay loop in a nutshell. You buy units from the shop using the elixir you get every round. Then you strategically place your units in tiles you deem fit, which then they would start fighting the enemy units at the start of the round, and the player with the best composition and positioning skills will be the winner. What I like about this game is the strategic depth it has. For example, when you buy second copy of a unit you already have, you are presented with 3 different upgrade options. A unit like Rock has a defensive tanky role, so going with the HP upgrade is the perfect choice. But when it comes to other units like this squid called Thunderbloom, you might notice that with every hit he does, a bar under his HP gets filled up, which allows him to cast his special attack. When upgrading him, I opt into picking the hit speed buff to get more special attacks down. Classes are another way of increasing the strategic depth of the gameplay. When you play 2 units from the same class, you will see an icon indicating that the class buff is now activated. And the more units from the same class you have, the better the buff is. Basically, every unit has 2 different classes, which opens up the gates to a lot of different comps that you can build every game. Old-time viewers know that I have a soft spot for auto battlers, especially when they are in a 1v1 format. And what's cool about this game is that they already have clans, clan wars, and new units and new heroes in the pipeline ready to be released. So if you are interested in a real-time strategic game and want to play Rift Wars, make sure to pre-register using the link in the description or the QR code on the screen. Parrying is basically blocking an attack then doing a counter attack. This helps the Ronin become the king of 1v1s because negating damage from an attack is a really strong advantage. Now, you might have noticed that he parried multiple times, and that's because he gets his parry every 3.5 seconds. It's easy to know whether he has it or not by looking at the aura around him. And interestingly, he seems to regenerate his parry even when he is frozen, which is honestly crazy to me. Furthermore, he spawns with it, so dropping him late can still be effective on defense. The amount of damage the parry does is marked at 200% in the stat page, but that could be double the damage of the Ronin or double the damage he receives. After playing around with him, I realized it means double the damage he absorbs. This means that parrying a full HP Mini P.E.K.K.A. will have it one shot because the Mini P.E.K.K.A. usually 2 shots itself. It also means that parrying a regular Prince attack does a bit of damage to the Prince, whereas parrying his charge will nearly one-shot him because the charge has more damage. It doesn't go over shields, so Dark Prince charging or not charging doesn't really change anything. And what's even more insane is that this card will punish over level players as it uses their higher stats to its advantage. Now, this parry only works on melee attacks, so a ranged troop will be fully safe from the mechanic. Immediately it got me thinking about air troops, but the problem is that minions and Mega Minion are considered ranged troops as they get reflected by Monk. Phoenix, however, is I think the only melee air card, and the parry doesn't work on him, so it's exclusive to ground melee cards. 3 Musketeers have this interesting interaction where they don't get parried in ranged attack, but the moment he gets close, the melee attack gets parried. So technically, as a 3 Musketeer player, you want to keep the Ronin away from them while defending. Win conditions that have attacking effects don't get parried, so an Evo RG won't take extra damage from Ronin. That's because these sorts of splash attacks like the Mega Knight spawn damage are applied effects, not targeted attacks. Basically, what they do is just throw a hitbox in a specific area and whoever gets hit, gets hit. Currently, it works on Evo Battlegram, and even though that that is a targeted attack, as in it hits the troops specifically when it gets in range, the devs said it was a glitch. Which honestly, that and Hero Giant I feel should be parryable, but I guess they wanted win conditions to not get parried. Now this doesn't mean he can't parry unless he is the main target. As you can see here, if a normal attack splashed him, he can still parry it. Though keep in mind his parry doesn't cancel the splash effect, so it won't protect his allies like it protects him. Funny thing to mention, he doesn't need to be targeting a card to parry it, which is honestly a really crazy thing that makes a big difference, as you can't distract him with a tank and kill him with another card. It also makes him extremely strong defensively, as you can safely just play him on a giant push without worrying about the prince, as he will deal with both of them. Parrying also comes with a built-in stun, which initially you might think isn't that impactful, but it's one of the strongest features this card has. For starters, it resets Mighty Miner, so it allows him to straight up 1v1 Mighty Miners without breaking a sweat. It can cancel the yeet from the Evo Mega Knight, which slows it down and tanks it really hard compared to other mini tanks. And that makes it the first card that can entirely cancel a Golden Knight dash. Just having a Ronin on your push will prevent the Golden Knight from getting value against everything behind it. Besides, when you want to block a running Golden Knight on your tower, the placement doesn't matter as much anymore. Also, in some situations, the Golden Knight would be unblockable because of the way your troops are scattered, but with a Ronin in your hand, simply playing him anywhere will act as a blockade that the Golden Knight cannot go through. Since I'm here to answer difficult questions, what happens when two cards hit the Ronin at the same time? I am not talking about whether they both get parried or whatever. I am mainly interested in answering which one specifically gets parried. To answer this, I used the setup of playing two P.E.K.K.A.s. Initially, I tried having the P.E.K.K.A. I played first to be in front, and it was the one that took the parry. And then I tried to have the P.E.K.K.A. that I played first in the back, and it was also the one that took the parry. This means that the priority goes to the troop that was deployed first, so basically the guard in front will always be the one taking the parry hit. I also tried using Mirror to make one of them deal more damage and have more HP, but that changed nothing. Speaking of deploy order, there is a difference between deploying your Ronin before or after the card they deployed. The difference mainly lies in your Ronin getting a regular attack slightly quicker if he was deployed before the enemy troop, which is bad against shields. And in a 1v1 between two Ronins, the one that gets deployed second will be the one parrying first, therefore winning the 1v1. A bit of an interesting fact, invisible troops can waste the Ronin's parry, which is funny cause most of them don't even take damage. Like Ghost is the only one that takes damage, but he becomes visible, so it's not clear on him. I'd say though it prioritizes non-immune troops, so that's a good thing to know. Dealing with him if you are playing a bait deck is easy because him parrying a goblin is just whatever. If you're running a heavier deck, you mostly want to rely on air troops or ranged troops to take him out. His fast speed might force you to use your win condition to block him if you want to avoid damage on your towers. If you really had nothing in hand other than a mini P.E.K.K.A., you can time a zap in a way that would let the mini P.E.K.K.A. hit, and that's because the parry would get temporarily disabled when he is stunned. If you are a good player, you can time an E-Wiz so that his stuns are in sync with say a ghost attack, so that way you can completely nullify the parry for good. Freeze and Vines are also spells you can use to assist your melee cards, as without them, they can't even scratch the Ronin. This is also why Evo Cage can fully counter him. I guess when he gets grabbed, he gets stunned for a bit. Funny thing though is that if you manage to break the cage before the Ronin dies, he will heavily injure the Goblin Brawler with a parry. Using it is gonna heavily depend on tracking what your opponent has in hand. If their hand sucks, then playing it on the bridge is a very good idea, because even if they figure out a way to not take any damage, the parry would get rid of counter pushes. Typically, you want him to tank for your other cards, mainly cause him being in front makes melee troops hit him first. The thing is, though, when you pair him with win conditions, then it would become possible for them to kite him away from the front. So in cases where you know they can pull him away with small cards, you're probably better off playing other regular troops with him so they don't mess up your push order. And if the opponent was a smartass and thought they can play their mini P.E.K.K.A. behind, you can easily support it with an E-Wiz or something else, since it's close to the bridge, winning you the bridge fight. The parry has no effects with Rune Giant. As you can see, he hit the Spear Goblin, parried the mini P.E.K.K.A and needed 2 more regular attacks to be able to get the Rune Giant buff. But what's also interesting is that he counters Rune Giant buffed troops. As you can see, he one-tapped the buffed prince with his parry, when originally the prince doesn't get one-tapped, and that's because he reflects the Rune Giant buffs too. Regarding Dex, he will probably be played in bridge spam, mostly as his movement speed and his mechanic fits there. I can see some cycle decks that don't run heavy DPS running him to abuse certain decks. Maybe that's reaching, but clone can do okay with him cause the clone itself has a decent survivability against certain cards. But overall, he doesn't seem like a decent card for beatdown because when there is a push, they can just play their melee cards on other troops. Before I show off King activations, there is a package that I wanted to open. Fun fact, this isn't really a face reveal. I posted my face like 3 times before I started doing Clash Royale. To be honest, I like this jacket. I heard some creators say it's not something they would wear outside. You all don't deserve that. The only reason I wouldn't wear this to a wedding is because I would have more aura than the bride and the groom, and that's kinda rude. Wow, another hat. I had to go hat on a hat to look goofy for a bit. There is a coin as well. I don't know if the details are visible. The lighting is low-key not good. Sorry, I don't use cameras, so no reason for me to build a studio with good lighting. Bunch of emote pins. I gotta make sure to not wear that Goblin Boohoo one to a funeral. I like this Boss Bandit keychain. It feels kinda Clash Mini. To be honest, either way, this was supposed to be here in March for the 10th anniversary, but like, yeah, Turkish customs are a pain in the ass. It took me 4 months of emailing them back and forth to get it through. Empty card box paper thingy, I don't know what that's supposed to be. And finally, we have this thing. Basically, the fanciest item. It's like a trophy or an award or whatever. It's honestly really cool, probably my favorite of the bunch. So looking at my desk here, we have the Creator Academy Award, and on the other side there is a Bulbasaur. Get out of here, this place belongs to this cool ass trophy now. For King activations, a Nado can easily get him to the King Tower because of how easy it is to pull fast troops. If you want to activate the King Tower with 0 tower damage, it is possible, but I wouldn't recommend it because the timing is super hard. With Fisherman, you can activate if you have a weaker tower troop, as the parry can kill the Fisherman quickly to secure an activation. I am not sure how it would go with other tower troops. I can't check because there is a bug where the first Fisherman hit doesn't get parried, but I would imagine you still can't anyway. Here is the new arena. Remember that one time when I said I couldn't record footage for the spell combo video? Yeah, it was because this arena replaced all the arenas on the dev build. Basically, next update, every game mode will use this arena for a month. Here are the sound effects. Not gonna lie, this card is low-key interesting, but also a bit of an issue. I don't really like the design on this one. I have a second channel video down left for you to watch if you want some thoughts on it, my dudes.